grow up. I want things to stay the way they are.
Can't stop time, Wendy, whether you like it or not.
Flying. A little bug did it.
I don't think that's a bug.
She is a fairy.
Are you Peter Pan?
Were you expecting someone else?
I can fly! Is that
Neverland! Is this everything you dreamed of?
I could never have dreamed of this! What is this place?
No rules, no schools, no bedtimes, and most of all...
No growing up.
Are you Wendy?
Tiger Lily.
Peter.
Peter!
Captain, it's Peter Pan.
Never say his name.
Miss me?
Just like old times.
All your times are old, Captain.
Come on! Everyone, hang on!
Did you hear that?
That is one big...
To grow up might just be the biggest adventure of all.
What's going on, world? It's your boy Kuya P. This is the NRW Nerds Rule the World, and I'm here with the lovely Heather. But don't hurt him, Heather. Let's talk Peter Pan and Wendy.
Sure.
Disney Plus. As of it's streaming now. We got a chance to watch it early, and we meant to get the review out earlier, but we've been busy, y'all. We do a lot of things, and so it's streaming now. So you can watch our review, or maybe watch the film and then see what we thought. I don't know, do some comparisons, see if we're crazy, see if we're on point. Let us know, comments below. Heather, Peter Pan and Wendy. We just showed the trailer. Let's do what we do. Let's give the basic plot story for those that may not have watched it yet. So we'll kind of try and do this spoiler free. We'll break down some of the characters that we see in this, the actors, and then give our thoughts, hopefully without spoiling. I can't promise everything, though, on that one. Heather, let's go with the story.
Sure. So if anyone's comfortable, or if you've ever seen the 1950s animated film, this is just a reimagining, as Disney likes to put it, of that classic animated film. We have Peter Pan, we have Wendy Darling, we have Captain Hook, the Lost Boys, Tiger Lily. All of those characters that we have loved in the animated version for literally 70 years are back. They are back in an all new, very real world. Pretty sure they're in the same island that Neverland is the same island that Luke Skywalker was like Jediing himself out at, but that's just me. But it all starts in London, just like in the animated film, and Wendy is off on her next adult adventure, so to speak. And she doesn't want to. Who wants to grow up? I don't want to grow up. And Peter Pan comes at the right time to pick her up and take her and her brothers off to Neverland. They go to the second star to the right, and then all the way through till morning. Is that how it goes? I think all the way through till morning till they get to Neverland, where she meets all of the cast and crew of the series and has a swashbuckling good time-ish, and coming into herself, accepting who she is, and learning about the world and the kids around her. I think that's a good one. Is that good?
I think that's good. I think I don't think we can really spoil a film or a story that's been around since 1904. And the animated film was in 1953. So many adaptations. I know I've been to so many school plays and seen this in every iteration. So I don't think we'll be spoiling Peter Pan too much. But anyway, I will break down the cast and crew, but before I get started, as I like to do always as a filmmaker myself, shout out to the entire cast and crew. It takes a village to make a film. No matter how bad a film some people may think a film can be, or how great a film, it's not just singular people. It takes a lot of people to make a film, and people don't set out to make a bad film. Let's also say that as well. So just there's a lot of people involved with the project. So shout out to the entire cast and crew, to Peter Pan and Wendy, who I'll add into it more, who I think did a phenomenal job on this film. So first up, let's give some shout outs to David Lowery, the director. He also helped write the screenplay with Toby Hallbrooks. Fun facts about David Lowery: he also gave us the Pete's Dragon live action adaptation that Disney did. So he got continued on, I guess, from these animated adaptations to live action over at Disney. And so he is the one that helped give us Peter Pan and Wendy. First time acting film debut for the young Peter Pan in this, Alexander Molony. Shout out to this young actor. I'll also add to this, a lot of the actors involved with this, especially this young cast, are first timers. So bravo, like to be on such a big project with so much production and CGI and all the things that they did with this. It looks so good. They did a phenomenal job. You know, as a young kid, I can only imagine being on such an amazing set and just probably quivering in my shoes to just not mess anything up. So they did the damn thing. They killed it. Shout out to this entire young cast. Our Wendy, to Peter Pan and Wendy, is Ever Anderson. You've actually seen her, and I was surprised to see this, as the young Natasha Romanoff in Black Widow. So all us Marvel heads like myself, I know Heather is a Marvel head, although she claims Disney and Nightwing butts. She's a marvelous person. We watch a lot of Marvel. We talk a lot of Marvel here. She was a young Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, in that film. So shout out to her, getting some good work, and she's amazing in this. Our Captain Hook. Excuse me. I think I probably swam a little too much in the water with the crocodile just now. Captain Hook, Jude Law. I don't know how Heather feels about this. We talked a little bit about it in the trailer reaction when we did that to Peter Pan and Wendy. She was, had a little hesitancy, and maybe she'll add a little bit more when we get into the review about her feelings about Jude Law. Did you do the Peter? I'm confusing myself now.
Did. My only complaint was his wig, and we'll talk about the wig.
Okay. Well, he's our Captain Hook, and I thought he was a delight. I thought he had a lot of fun with this role. I thought he did a great job, but again, I need to save my thoughts for the actual review portion. That's our Captain Hook. Jude Law, phenomenal actor. You've seen him in a lot of different projects. Our Tinkerbell, which I was happy to see. Yara Shahidi, you've seen her in Grownish. You've seen her in Blackish. You've seen her in a bunch of different projects. Her star is blooming. Phenomenal as Tinkerbell. Just gave us, Tinkerbell really doesn't talk per se. She just has some movements. Very expressive. And I think Yara did a phenomenal job as our Tinkerbell. Shout out to her. Some other highlights. Jim Gaffigan, our Shmee. I've always liked Shmee. He's kind of like the young counsel, stalwart to Captain Hook, and also a hilarious comedian. Shout out to Jim Gaffigan. And just an amazing cast, again, like a young cast. Let me see. Tiger Lily. Let me give a shout out to that young actress. I like how we got presented Tiger Lily in this film, not the love interest of Peter Pan, not the the native person that they're like the stereotypes that they have done with Peter Pan franchise. Let's be real. Phenomenal job. She's kind of like the leader and co-partner of leading these lost boys, if you will, and girls, which was also gravitas. Why can't there be women in this troop of lost boys, girls? I hate now even saying lost boys. That always bothered me. But from what I understand, just another quick note. I'm getting sidetracked. I apologize. Jan Barry thought that young girls were too smart to be lost like these boys. So I kind of see that as some respect there, but then also, come on, equal opportunity here. I'm sure Heather will add more to that in a bit. Yeah. So phenomenal acting by Alyssa Wapanatak. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, Alyssa. She was our amazing Tiger Lily. We also have Jacoby Juppé as Michael Darling. John Darling is played by Joshua Pickering. Florence Bensberg as our Curly. Sebastian Billingsley, it's cut off, played Nibs. Oh, Alan Tudyk. Love Alan Tudyk. He's our Mr. Darling, and our Mrs. Darling was Molly Parker. Noah Matthews Matovsky played Slightly. Kaylin Eddy is Toodles. Our twins, Kelsey Yates and Skylar Yates. That was so sweet. Birdie, Diana Soy, and Felix de Sousa Bellwether, amongst many others. Again, this was a phenomenal casting. I really liked how this was cast, but I'll break that down more when we get to the review portion with more of my thoughts. But there's your casting crew. We're both now back up on the screen. Again, shout out to the entire cast and crew. Phenomenal job. And just the highlighted actors, I think, did the damn thing. So let's get into the review. Heather, we did the trailer reaction leading into this. Before we get into the nitty gritty about this film, I think we both were just blown away by the trailer, and that both made us excited. At least speaking for myself, I was like, whoa, I haven't been excited for a Peter Pan franchise in so long. And when I saw this, I was like, I really want to watch this. I got to tune into this. And thankfully enough, with our peeps at Disney, we got hooked up to check it out. And okay, thank you, Disney. Give me more. Can I have some more? What about you?
I remember not being as excited as you were, but I've also been, I don't know how many of the live action films you've actually watched. I haven't been a huge fan. And it's actually I word barfed during this part last time we were talking about it. One thing that has really been a problem with the reimagined live action versions is the consistency and quality of film. It might not be the actors, it might not be the CGI, it might not be the screenplay. Every single film has had its weaknesses. And the one thing that I was really excited for this film in general was that it was coming to Disney Plus. I really think that what made me excited for this film is that I felt like this was a good place to put it. Because there have been many live actions that have not done well in theater, and people aren't going to be rushing to see that many more of the live actions because of the quality we have seen. Having the opportunity for a diverse cast like this, for a classic story like this to be accessible very easily is what made me the most excited about this movie. Because my husband, for example, after I think it was Cinderella, which was several movies ago, he was like, I'm done. I don't want to, I'm not going to pay for this anymore. Sorry, Disney, Mickey, don't yell at me about this. But he was just like, I'm kind of done with the live action films. Having this in our hands, even though we got lucky enough to see it a different way, my husband will be watching this on Disney Plus, and he's like, this is a much better place for me to watch this. And I think it's going to be the same for most. And so, yeah.
All right. So I think as we said earlier, if you've seen Peter Pan, this tale. So it's really difficult to spoil this film. I just think, and when I suggested it and I talked about it on WTOP-FM, shout out to John and Michelle, the morning anchors on the drive team on WTOP-FM. They asked me what makes this different from other Peter Pan and Wendy's. I was like, they just, literally it's a story you've seen before. To be completely honest, it's a story we've seen before. We know the tale. It's just heightened and probably the best representation we've ever seen of it. And I would say also live action wise, they are able to do and bring to life what we know of the story so much better than what has come before because of where graphics are at and CGI and special effects. They, I think, did it beautifully. This is a beautiful film. And my biggest critique and also when speaking with other fellow critics that have watched and reviewed this film as well is it's sad that it isn't on the big screen. And because it is such a beautiful film. While I'll add, I'm part of that tribe, and you and I have discussed this as well, Heather. This looks really we like having the online virtual experience. If they can, because there's also people with certain disabilities and handicaps that can't always make it. They can't make it to a theater. Let's be straight up. They can't make it to a theater. So I like, because we are in a time and age now, we should be able to do a dual release, at home as well as in theaters. It's sad that you can't see this because this is a theater worthy film. To see the setup, it would look masterful on the big screen. but also if you can't make it though, I want people it needs to be accessible. So I like that it is on Disney Plus. To your point you were saying earlier, to make it accessible to everybody. So that's really the only negative, because I think this film on a big screen, if you don't have a particular, to me, I have the setup at home, and I know there's others too, because home technology is now where it kind of needs to be at so people can enjoy it, but that's not the case in everybody's household. So they really only have the theater. So we have to think outside of ourselves. It would be masterful for people to see it on the big screen. So that's really the only big negative, I would say. But a beautiful film, beautifully cast. If we can just, I guess, touch upon the uproar a little bit that people had. These characters are supposed to look like this, blah, blah, blah. This is what my world looks like. That's all I got to say. And if you've been to a lot of theatrical plays and school performances, this is what Peter Pan looks like. And this book was written, yes, eons ago, ages ago, but it's meant to be enjoyed for all time. And there's going to be different people in life, and it's not paper white, y'all. Reality in the world isn't paper white. So I don't know, I just wanted to add that because I hated a lot of the negativity towards people of color that are represented in this film. And just, man, it was awesome. And then the female representation. What did you think about that? And I'm sorry if I'm going on tangents, Heather. I just have a lot of thoughts on it. I thought it was great, and I just don't like the negativity, and I think it just needs more love, if you will.
So when it comes to the movie, I think you and I have very different opinions of the quality of this film.
Okay. Well, then go. Be real.
But I'll start with the inclusivity. This film is very inclusive. It's one of the most inclusive casts that we have seen in any of the Disney reimaginings. And I would even say almost like it probably pairs onto Lion King, even though we did not have any faces, which was kind of terrifying. That was a very diverse cast. This is one where we can actually see it. Tiger Lily speaks Cree. She is speaking in Cree throughout a majority of the movie. That's a big deal. This is the second film that Disney Studios has put out in which a entirely indigenous language can be seen. But instead of it being a second option, it's a primary. And that's a huge deal. That is a huge deal. For people who are complaining about the female representation, Wendy was always a main character. If you've seen the plays, if you've seen the musical, if you've seen the original concepts, if you've read the book, Wendy was the reason that Peter was a reason for Peter to grow. And so she was always like this. The animated film, making her kind of this weird love interest to compete against Tiger Lily was growing up, that when you're a kid, you're like, oh, okay, that's cute, that's sweet. But when you watch it nowadays as an adult, you're like,
yeah,
this is kind of weird. He's supposed to be perpetually 12 years old. Tiger Lily is still technically part of a regular tribe. And so she is growing up. It was weird and kind of gross.
Yes.
So this actually puts Wendy in the correct spot. She is, I'm going to say this, she's basically a white savior in this book. And I hate that concept. I really do. But it's one of those where that's kind of what she's supposed to be. She's supposed to be this girl from a wealthy family. Or
I didn't even think about that, but now I can't not think of it. Yeah.
It's kind of that. So to all you dude bros who really want to complain, think of it. She's the white savior. There, I fixed your problem. But it's one of those where she was always supposed to be a hero. Tink was always supposed to be a very important member. And the thing is that she's a fairy. Fairies can be literally anything we want. She's in this world of make-believe. So anyone could be Tinkerbell. Anyone can be Peter Pan. It's very similar to Spider-Man. Anyone cannot want to grow up. And if you can put yourself in his shoes, then you are Peter Pan. It doesn't matter what you look like. And by the way, guys, if you didn't know this, in the play, Peter's always played by a girl. Anyway, just sorry. We're theater people. We understand this.
Right? Like, come on now. Like, yeah.
So once again, when it comes to the diversity, when it comes to the inclusivity, this is an absolutely wonderful place to put it. I was so excited to hear Tiger. Like the moment she hit screen and you're like, she was talking in a completely different language that was completely indigenous. And it's like, I am so excited to watch that. That was a big moment. But when it came to the movie, it was about the same quality and context as the other live actions. They had beautiful, huge, as you were saying, wide panel images. They did a lot of filming in the real world versus not. But there are just some things that I don't think would have looked good on the silver screen. Primarily when they're at the Lost Boys' home. There's just some very small pieces. And in all reality, this film moved too quickly and yet too slowly. There were great moments from the animated film or from the book that you would recognize instantly that seemed to go too quickly. And you're like, I want to know more about these characters. I want to see more of the interactions. And then there were moments that are like, are we done yet? Are we done yet? Okay. The story, we get more of a story between Peter and Captain Hook. I won't spoil that part for you because that was not in the animated film. Jude Law played a really, really, really fun Captain Hook, a different version. I mean, he literally walks out and he goes straight to violence. He woke up and chose violence on the day of this film. But other than the cast, this is one of those movies where the cast is great. The storytelling is broken. I feel like we could have had 15, 20 more minutes of this movie and it would have been a far better film.
You know what? I don't disagree with your qualms. I think what helps with me not pinpointing that out too much I watched it quickly, one viewing. So I need to watch it again. I was slightly preoccupied. I'm not going to lie. And I think, well, that's today's generation. We all are always kind of doing something as we're watching something else. So I was so that kind of made those slow moments move faster because I was, in between. But I think if I stop to think about it a little bit, when the film does that or a little bit, that's an error. That's not too good. You should be captivated. You should be drawn in, not wanting to do anything else. So I don't disagree with you. When I think about it more and I was thinking about it as you were saying that, but I would still love to see it on the big screen. I do see the certain set pieces you said, like the Lost Boys home that maybe, and there was it was a little too dark.
Maybe on an IMAX.
Maybe wouldn't have translated to a degree.
Yeah, maybe this isn't an IMAX movie, but this could definitely translate to a regular screen.
Yeah, I see your point.
Not everything needs to be an IMAX. And I'm not saying that just to Disney. I'm saying it across the board. I mean, we saw Cocaine Bears going straight to the R1. We saw Cocaine Bear in a regular theater, and I honestly am completely okay with that.
Yeah.
There's one other thing that I'm going to complain about from a studio perspective. Once again, the casting was wonderful.
Okay.
But and this isn't me saying that this is a kid's movie that I don't see it. Like it's more, we need to be understanding from a production point of view. When I say we, I mean the production companies need to be more understanding of the ability of kids. I'm going to say that. I want to say the ability. Many of the actors in this film were not from the UK, including the girl. Oh, I forgot her name. The girl who played Wendy.
Ever Anderson.
Yes.
Black Widow.
Yes. She is not from the UK. And I'm going to do a quick callback to one of the worst examples that I could probably give is Harry Potter. That casting was only open, and I know this because I put in a tape and I got booted immediately. So it was a long time ago. It was way before the things that are happening now. Don't be mad at me. But it was one of those where they only had casting open for kids in the UK because they didn't want to really see the inconsistencies in voice. And what you had here is you had a lot of inconsistencies in where a child, they are children, is still growing, is still developing. And there were inconsistencies in accents. And I think that that's more on the production team than it is on the actors. But we need to be cognizant of where there can be shortcomings when it comes to children and acting. Once again, casting was great. There were inconsistencies because of decisions made. And in reality, I wouldn't have minded if they just didn't have the accents. They pulled a full Taika Waititi and they were just like, you know what? She can't do the accent. He can't do the accent. Someone can't do the accent. Just keep them English. It's fine. Keep them American English. It's okay. Like, that was something that kind of bugged me throughout the film. I'm not going to lie.
Okay. No, nothing wrong with that. I understand that. Respect that. Yeah. No, I cannot disagree with the qualms. I can respect the qualms if I think about it longer and what I enjoyed. and watched. But I think overall, though, I think it's a great entry, and I think it because the Hollywood studios are going to continue to make Peter Pan films. It's a storyline that will last forever. And if this is going to help pave the way and increase the productivity, the quality of the film, because I definitely think this has raised the bar. Even though there's been many iterations, I feel it's raised the bar. So, and if it's still just A-okay with us, I'm really looking forward to see where they're going to take the bar up even higher for the next project. So there you go, y'all. Peter Pan and Wendy streaming on Disney Plus. A lot of pluses, minuses. Let us know if we're insane in the brain, if we're on point. Hit us up in the comments below. Heather, how can they talk all things Neverland with you?
Sure. If you ever want to tell me how wrong my opinions are, you can message me at nerdisAHeather on Twitter and at heatherisAnerd on TikTok and Instagram.
Thank you, Heather. And for me, I know I'm wrong all the time, but hey, I think I was right on this one. And I agree with Heather. Yeah, I think we're both on point with this.
We're both right. We're both right.
Yeah. Hit me up at the Legend Kuya P on Twitter, TikTok, IG, Hive, and of course here with Heather and the whole squad at the NRW and Release Wednesday, where nerds rule the world. Those are our thoughts on Peter Pan and Wendy. Let us know if you're checking it out on Disney Plus, streaming right now.
Right now.
There we go.